to the third episode in our Bible series on creation. If you have been listening to our conversation, you know that we are on day 1. And this we find the text of Genesis chapter 1 from verse 3 to 5 being the relevant text that we are focusing on. I pray that this will be a blessing to you. If this is your first time to join us, welcome. My name is Antoninah, a servant of God, and it is such a joy to take us through this journey of experiencing Bible stories and ensuring that we join the dots of how the Old Testament stories and the New Testament stories fit in together. And guess what that means? It means that it is in Jesus, the person of Jesus, that everything holds together. If this is a blessing to you, please do not forget to subscribe, like, and share this video with other people to whom it might be a blessing. So today we are in verse 5 of Genesis chapter 1. And for the sake of context sake, let us read from verse 3 to verse 5. Genesis chapter 1 reads, "Then God said, 'Let there be light,' and there was light. God saw that the light was good, and God separated the light from the darkness." Interesting what he does there. He separates. He is not happy with the reality of darkness having dominion over the earth. So what does he do? He separates. That is a very important principle of life, that God does separate. Yes, God does separate people. People who are living according to his ways and those who are not, he will bring a separation. God will separate values. There are values that he applauds and there are values that he shuns. So God does cause a separation. In fact, later on, Yeshua will say in the book of Luke that do not think that I came to bring unity. I came to separate even a daughter from their mother-in-law. Why? Because some are on my way and some are not. And God brings separation of those things that he applauds from those things that he shuns. So that is an interesting principle to learn. But today we focus on verse 5. It says, God called the light day, and he called the darkness night. Evening came, and then morning, the first day. Several principles that we learn from this text. God calls the light day. Why does he do that? Because, friends, God is the creator. He alone. So he alone can define and tell us the true nature of anything. And whatever God calls, if he calls this person male, that person is male. You can call him female. The person may feel female emotions, but if God says that is male, that is male. God is the standard setter. God is also the creator. That idea means that God is the owner. Reality as we know it is described perfectly by the creator. He is the one who determines the true nature of things, true nature of people, true nature of circumstances. It is him who defines what reality is. Unfortunately, again, out of the prideful rebellion of human hearts, people have taken upon themselves to define reality, or to place in evidence or the lens of life, and to call out things in ways that the creator opposes. For example, you will hear people say, "My dress, my choice." It is an ongoing conversation that says of women that we determine what is my choice of dress. But who made us the ones who set the standards. Isn't it pride or arrogance that presupposes that we are the ones who set the standards? It is not even human culture that should determine what dress, what food, what place to go, what things to love or what things to hate. You don't have that capacity. I don't have that capacity. In humility, we must consult God through His Word and in prayer and seek out what does He define a matter. For example, I have a glass of water here, and it is water that I would say looks clean water. But if God comes and says that is poison, what should I do? I should put it aside and say, if God says it is poisonous, it has become poisonous. That is the humility that is required of creatures. When God says and utters certain directives, as the Creator, and knowing that He is good, we must in humility submit ourselves and say, God, you know best, and so I submit myself to you. So if God says that the light is good, and Him permitting that light rules over darkness is good, then we should agree with Him and say, yes, it is good. And if He was to shun any matter, then we should shun it. Like later on, He will say that the serpent is crafty. But you have a whole religion of people who say, no, the serpent is not crafty. The serpent gives us illumination. No, brothers and sisters. God is the one who calls out things, who calls out people, who calls out realities. So when God calls the light day, He has given the day its true nature. When He calls the darkness night, He has given the night its true nature. May the Lord help us to work out humility in ourselves so that in every way we submit ourselves to God's description of reality. Where God tells us not to touch something, in humility we say, okay, God, we will not touch it, because in touching it, you will explore and get into realities that are contrary to the Creator's perfect will for you. At creation, we also note that the 24-hour day begins with evening and then there is morning. That is very different from how we do our days nowadays. We count our days from midnight. But that wasn't so from the model we see at creation. There was evening and there was morning. That's a day. There will be another evening and another morning, and that is going to be another day. That is going to be very important for us as we continue on in the journey and we consider the reality of the meta-narrative of the scriptures and understand that even when things look gloomy, morning may be there for the night, but joy is coming in the morning. And at the dawn of it all, we will see the Lord Himself manifest in our lives, and it will be such a joy. This will also be important later on as we calculate the time that Jonah was in the fish, in the stomach of the fish. And later on, as we are going to look at the story of Yeshua's death, burial, and resurrection, that has caused trouble for some people when they use the way we calculate days to calculate the 3 days and trying to discover, so how long was Jesus dead? How long did He remain in the tomb? This is the secret of being able to uncover that. God bless you as we journey along. Let us meet in the next episode as we consider day 2. God bless you.